Hey everybody, happy Monday. It is February 3rd. I can't get over the fact that it's already February. I wanted to drop in here and do a live about emails and the power of emails when you're launching, when you are selling stuff, because that's ultimately what we want to do. That's why we are sending emails. That's why we do email marketing, is to build our businesses. So I wanted to drop in here and talk about that. Now, if we haven't met yet, I'm Bobby Klink. I'm the founder of BobbyKlink.com, formerly known as Your Online Genius. I'm a Harvard lawyer turned online entrepreneur who built a multiple six-figure business selling legal templates, like the most boring thing ever, realistically, on the power of email. So last year in 2019, again, I had a multiple six-figure business, and I only did one kind of launch that was anything other than just email. So I know the power of email, so I wanted to talk to you about it. And specifically, what I wanted to talk about today is the power of thinking through a promo sequence when you are going to do a promotion period, and thinking about it as a whole, not as individual situations. So can't go into a whole training here on the live about creating a promo sequence. That's too much. I actually am doing a workshop this Friday all about that, called Promo Emails That Sell. It's all about building all of the different pieces of your promo sequence, from a wait list sequence to an invite sequence, a show up sequence, and then a sales sequence, and then also some of the other interesting things that I do. So I'm doing all of that this Friday in my workshop. If you want to get more information about that, you can find out by heading over to bobbyklink.com/February 2020 workshop. Again, bobbyklink.com/February 2020 workshop. But what I wanted to talk about today is one of the things that I'm going to talk about in that workshop, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it here in this live. And that is that when you are creating promo emails, these are emails that are meant to sell as part of a specific promotion. So I'm not talking about emails that happen at the very beginning when someone signs up for your list, if you try to sell them something. No, I'm talking about a big promotion. So it could be a webinar launch. It could be a PLF style video launch. It could be an email only launch. It could be a challenge launch. Any kind of launch, whether there's a vehicle or just emails, what you need to be thinking about is a couple of things. But the big thing is, I want you to think about all of the emails as kind of taking people on a journey. In other words, you think about the emails not simply as individual emails all by themselves. Instead, you think about them as fitting into a kind of an overall story arc. Now, one thing I want to be clear about is you don't want any emails that you're sending. Like if I'm sending an email on day 3 of a promotion, I don't want to say something in that email that might make people say, well, I want to wait till I get email 4 before I buy. So you don't do that. You don't do the kind of foreshadowing that often we will do in other emails. But you'll often kind of relate back to prior emails so that there is a story arc happening over time. The perfect example of this is that I have a sequence where I'm selling my template library, which is kind of my all access pass to emails, or sorry, not to emails, my all access pass to my legal templates. And I have a couple of emails in there that go back to back. And the first one is, don't be like Tarzan. Tarzan is one of my friends. She gave me a case study testimonial and of course said I could use this, but she had a situation where she ended up having to give a refund on like a $4,500 product pretty late in the game because she had gone without an agreement for the program. And so because of that, this first email, and again, it's not the first, but this email says, don't be like Tarzan. It tells the story and then it explains the power of having a written agreement, of having that kind of agreement in place for a course. And so that's that first email. Then the follow-up email, the email they get next in the sequence is, be like Amy instead. So first they see, don't be like Tarzan, and then they say, be like Amy instead. And it refers back to Tarzan, the email about Tarzan, and then it says, Instead of being like Tarzan, you want to be like my friend Amy Porterfield, who recommends my products. I said she uses my templates in her business and she gets these things in place to protect herself. So you can kind of see how what I'm doing there is creating this ongoing story so people feel a connection between the emails. Now, again, it's not always going to be that express or that explicit. Sometimes what you're going to want to do is simply have themes that you talk about over and over again. Now, another one of the kind of themes that I have talked about at various points when I've put together promo sequences is costs. So, and how it can be expensive and how my templates are an affordable solution to the problem. So, I have an email at one point that talks about do you want to send me on a European vacation? And the concept is, hey, you could pay me to create agreements from you from scratch, but if you do so, you will be basically paying enough to send me and my family on a European vacation. And so it's kind of a joking thing saying that's one option, or you could buy my templates and you don't have to. So that's in that email. But then in future emails, I kind of talk about the costs involved. So a cost of inaction could cost you that you have to give refunds. It could cost you in this way. It could cost you that you have to do, you have scope creep if you're a service provider. And so you can kind of see this theme running throughout these emails so that there's kind of a connection between it. The point of me telling you all this is simply that if you can put together a promo sequence where there's kind of these threads that connect the emails, that will make it more powerful. But at the same time, so when you're thinking about putting emails as part of an overall, sequence, part of it is that, thinking of themes, thinking of ways you can connect, the email that you send out on day 4 back to the one you send on day 3, etc. But the other piece, and this is something that happens to entrepreneurs a lot, is we think that everyone thinks like us. In other words, we think that everybody makes decisions like us. And what I mean by that is I'm what's called a spontaneous buyer. In other words, I'll see something, I'm like, yeah, I want it, and I just buy. And I don't have to do a lot of thought thinking. I don't have to do a lot of analysis. I don't have to do a lot of any of that. I just buy. So, for example, I have never read an entire long sales page in my life. I mean, maybe I've read my own, but those are the only ones I've read, and that was more for anything else. Because by the time I get to a sales page, I've pretty much already decided to buy. Well, I had this discussion in a Facebook group, and it was about a sales page, but it also applies to your email. This person was saying, I've never read a sales page. I don't think anyone reads these. Why do I have to write a long sales page? The point is to think about that you are talking to different buyers with different things you do during a promo sequence. And that's true in your emails as well. You are talking to different types of buyers with different emails. Some buyers are purely logical. They want a very logical, rational argument. Now, again, people will argue that actually there aren't rational buyers. We are all emotional buyers, and then we rationalize it after the fact. I believe there are, in fact, some people who have to at least rationalize it to themselves in advance. Maybe they're buying based on emotion, but they have to have a logical explanation that they can rationalize the decision before they buy. So you definitely have to hit those people. There are detail people who are going to want to know all the details. There are people who are driven by emotion, so you have to speak to them in emotional language. There are people who want to hear about what it's done for other people and those types of things, so case studies matter. The point of all this is for me to explain that when you are crafting a promo sequence, you have to think about, am I speaking to each and every one of those buyer types as you're doing it, as you're going through the promo email. And so, for example, some emails are not going to speak to all people. Let me give you a very specific example. There's a type of email called an FAQ. It tends to be a very long email that goes through a lot of details on frequently asked questions, but other details. That email is not for me. Because me as a spontaneous buyer, there is no way I'm reading that whole thing. It's just not going to happen. That doesn't mean it's not important though. So you have to have that to speak to the detail people. And so that's kind of the second piece. So my big lesson today, my big takeaway is that when you are crafting promo email sequences, basically sales sequences, and starting from kind of the beginning point of, inviting people to an event and then kind of all the way through the sales sequence, think about it as a unified whole. And think about how you can bring themes throughout that kind of link everything together, and then also make sure you're talking to the different types of buyers that you will have. If you do that, your promo sequences will be much more effective. And again, I know what I'm talking about here because last year I had multiple launches where I sent some emails and made $50,000 or more. So that's the kind of thing, the power of email when you do this right. And I know that crafting promo emails is not fun. It's a pain sometimes because it's a lot of stuff that has to be written. But there is power in doing it right. So if you want to learn more, if you want to go deeper on promo emails, I would love for you to join me this Friday. It will be February 7th, I believe is the date. I'm looking at my calendar. Yeah, February 7th at noon Eastern time. I'm doing a workshop. If you haven't been to one of my paid workshops before, they are not a pitch. It is, this one is probably going to be an hour and a half of value and then Q&A because my slide deck is 102 slides long, and we're going to go through it. I'm going to walk through how to craft a great promo sequence, from the beginning of inviting people all the way through the end. And that's what we're going to be doing on Friday. It's called Promo Emails That Sell. Now, in addition to the actual workshop itself, you're going to get a workbook that helps you work through it. And in this case, you're going to get an incredible extra, an incredible bonus, and that's my swipe. So I printed it out because I wanted people to see this is the swipe you're going to get. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's 120 plus pages of swipe. And there's multiple kinds of swipe in here. One of the things you'll be getting is literally all of the emails I sent the last time I did a webinar launch. And so in that one, there is a pre-launch emails to a wait list. There's invites. There's show up sequence. There's a post, or there's the actual sales sequence. And then there's a separate series of emails that I sent to people who didn't register for my webinar. So you're going to get all of that. Plus, then you're going to get a second swipe file that has kind of the last incarnation of what I call my non-launch launch. It is my email-only launch. It is 9 or 10 emails that I sent over about a week time and generated $50,000. So you're going to get both of those kinds of swipe, and you'll get all of that that will help inspire you to create the emails that will work best for your next launch, your next promo. The good news is when you go to the page to find out more, bobbyklink.com/February 2020 workshop. And I'm going to put a link in this after I have finished recording. I'll put a link in the actual post so you'll be able to go there. But when you go there, you can get all of this for just $1. Now, we do these things when I am doing these workshops that we let people do a $1 2-week trial of the FANS First Society. My workshops are all included in my FANS First Society for members. So if you join and take me up on the $1 trial, you'll get access to this Friday's workshop about promo emails that sell, but you'll also get access to prior workshops I've done, including my weekly emails, a workshop I did about creating content, a workshop I created about finding your fans and really kind of understanding them, but then also a bunch of core content and really great stuff. So head over if you're interested. If you want to learn how to do promo emails right, head over to bobbyklink.com/February 2020 workshop and you can find out more. That's it for now. Talk to you later.